Oh man, I mean, if this your first time, welcome. If this isn't your first time, welcome back. This is No Bullshit Podcast. It's Kai.
Yo, it's Conklin.
And listen, man, mock draft Monday. We back at it with another mock draft, right?
Mm-hmm.
This time we switching up a little bit. We both did our own individual mocks, and we're
Mm-hmm.
gonna compare and contrast and really talk about each pick that's different, why we chose them. You know what I mean? So it'd definitely be a very good video. So sit back, grab yourself something to eat, and let's dig in, man.
Yeah. And man, how we're just gonna structure this is we'll go like every 5 picks and just analyze it like that because I feel like if we go every single pick, it's gonna be a
Yeah.
little bit longer. But
Mm.
I think from what I see here for right now, I mean the first 5 picks we're pretty much the same,
Yep.
right? I mean I think it's obvious. The Bears trading away Fields, they're definitely going QB and
Hmm.
stop it with all the JJ McCarthy maybe going number one. Nah,
No.
it's Caleb.
Smoke screens.
Yeah. Smoke season, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So Caleb is definitely going number one. And then, yeah, I mean, for both of us, we got our Jaden Daniels. Um, going with the guy that definitely has a lot of experience, but is very,
Yep.
very talented, right? He's a Heisman for a reason. Going number two to Washington. And then, Drake May, Marvin Harrison, Malik Neighbors. Just, the following such. I think
Yeah.
Patriots it's pretty obvious, and then Cardinals is pretty obvious. But then get to the Chargers. I think the Chargers one is definitely one where it's gonna be interesting what they want to do.
Yeah.
And obviously, with this whole mock and all of our mock drafts in general, at least for right now, we're doing it without trades, right?
Hmm.
And so if you guys see that there's guys that may be a little bit lower that might be actually in the draft, that's probably why. That's
Yep.
why we're gonna no trades and stuff like that. So, but yeah, no, I mean, we all know about the Keenan Allen trade.
Yep.
The Chargers. They definitely need a receiver, but they also need a O line, like a tackle for sure on the opposite side of Slater, right? So so it's either you double down on running the ball, being physical, or getting a receiver that Herbert can actually fucking throw to.
Yeah. Yep.
So yeah, is there any other takes you want to say from the first five?
No, no. I mean, I feel like if nobody moves, I feel like this is the top five.
Yeah.
Um, you know, would Joe Alt be nice? Absolutely. But if we're just looking at team needs and really what we need right now, we need somebody to catch the ball. So, um, same thing with Cardinals. Both of us are very like
Yeah.
if we're just looking at the roster right now, we're bottom. Uh, in terms of wide receiver core, top three teams are going quarterback. So, but something that Jim Harbaugh actually said. Um, if especially if Arizona moves out of that four spot, number five is really where the draft really starts. You know what I mean? For
Mm-hmm.
teams that aren't looking for a quarterback, that's going to be the first opportunity where a non-quarterback is going to be taken.
Mm-hmm.
Um, so, I feel like that's the consensus top five if we're not talking trades.
Yeah, for sure. And then obviously there's a lot of teams that they want to trade up.
Hmm.
The Vikings, right? You got the Vikings, you got the Broncos, you got possibly the Raiders, right? And then obviously about something about the Giants, and we'll get to this really really quick because I see here that Kai he got the Giants going with JJ McCarthy. So
But yes, I do.
with that said,
Uh,
6 to 10, Kai just starts off.
yeah. Um, I feel like it's a real possibility that JJ McCarthy, goes to New York. Could
Hmm.
it be smoke screens? Absolutely. But I feel like I don't know. I feel like the Daniel Jones experiment is running on fumes, and I don't know. Honestly, I don't know with especially with the additions that they made this offseason if they'll be bad enough next year to really have a crack at a quarterback. Um, so even though I know they need wide receiver, I feel like in a situation like this, I feel like with so many different scouts and everybody honestly talking about JJ McCarthy, we got Jim Harbaugh, obviously a biased opinion, but you even got Raiders coach Antonio Pierce talking about him. You know what I mean? That he's surprised he's not a top three pick. And to be honest, I don't know what the Raiders would have would get out of line about that. You know what I mean? Like they're all the way down at what's that, 13? So I don't know what they would get much out of raising his stock anymore. So I think it is within the realm of possibility that he gets taken. New York is actually interesting, right? Because if you guys have been following all of our content in terms of this off season,
Mm-hmm.
you all know Cochran's stance on Roma Odunze. But it's funny because he
Yeah.
has him getting drafted before I do, and I'm a fan of Rome. So,
Mm-hmm.
he has him going number 6 to New York. If they don't go quarterback, I feel like this. And again, if nobody moves, I feel like that is the pick. Getting a wide receiver there. Next, Tennessee, we both got them taking Joe Alt. Funny enough, with Atlanta, we both got them taking corner, just two different players.
Yes.
I mean, both of those guys I can easily see being the first corner off the board.
Mm-hmm.
Then we got Byron Murphy. We got him going to Chicago.
Chicago. Mm-hmm.
We both predicted the exact same Chicago picks. That's very,
Yep.
very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
What's that? Okay, so number
Fuaga.
10. Uh, you got the Jets taking a tackle. The reason why I did not have the Jets taking a tackle is because of the free agency signings they just made. I feel like that does open up the door for you to get another position. I was gonna have them take Rome here, but with them
Mm.
signing Mike Williams, I feel like
Right.
them taking a wide receiver, this early, top 10, is really out of the question. And I just figured, why not get a get another guy on that defense, right? Why not get another guy, a young guy, to pair with a Sauce Gardner, right? That can line up at corner
Yeah.
or at safety,
Yeah.
right? So
Mm-hmm.
I feel like getting Cooper there, I feel like that fits more of a need.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but I can 100% see them taking a tackle, right? For not only for Aaron Rodgers, right, but for the future. I
Yeah.
mean, Aaron Rodgers is not going to play forever, so that could be one of those young pieces that you have in place for eventually whenever you get his successor.
Yeah, and like just really quick, Kai mentioned about it. I'm not the biggest Rome fan, and it's crazy. I have him drafted higher than Kai, that because he's more of a fan of Rome,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the reason why I just have because before, like, I'm going off the base of what I think is gonna happen, right? Than rather what I want to happen,
Mm-hmm.
right? Well, what I prefer, but I think the Giants. I think we've seen the past few years enough that they need talent at the receiver position.
Yep.
Like, you cannot go season after season without a pure number one receiver and, bank on that the quarterback is going to make everybody better,
Yep.
right? And it goes to show that, like, yes, the quarterback isn't. I mean, you're not getting the greatest quarterback play, but it doesn't help that you got no fucking receivers. Like, what? Your best
Yes.
receiver was what? Sterling Shepard, Isaiah Hodgins. Like,
Mm-hmm.
come on now. You got like the Giants so far they failed on the Darren Waller experiment. Like
Yep.
he's more than retirement. Like, I don't know what he's gonna do,
Mm-hmm.
right? And so, I think in our previous mock that we did last week, I predicted Brock Bowers to go to the Giants, right? Because it gives you a ability of, helping you in a blocking scheme and passing game, right? But I think I went a different route with Rome, just mainly because of, like, for what they need and for what, I don't know, the buzz around Rome about him possibly being like the second best receiver in the draft, which I think is crazy. But you know, it's it's debatable in the NFL circles and stuff like that. But I think that they're gonna draft a receiver there for
Mm-hmm.
just purely because they have no talent at all at the receiver position, right? And then
Mm-hmm.
just going down the line, Titans they got free. They got a very very good a solid corner in Snead, and I think Kyle have certain opinions about Snead that well we don't have to get about we don't have to get into, but after that, you got like you said, you took Nate Wiggins. I took Quinion Mitchell. I agree for you that Nate Wiggins is probably the better pro prospect right out the gate. I just think that with I don't know, Quinion Mitchell. I think nowadays in general, I think people bank on upside or just like traits and stuff like that. I'm not saying that Wiggins doesn't have traits. I just think that, like, Quinion Mitchell, he has the potential to be here's the thing, like maybe a better player, just because like he flashes certain things that Nate doesn't. But I'm not saying that Nate doesn't flashes things that Quinion Mitchell doesn't, right? So it just depends on like play style, pretty much in a sense, right? For the Falcons, it was really tough because I want ultimately with the corner route, but the Falcons, they can also take a what's it called, an edge rusher, because they desperately need some edge rushers, right? So it depends where you want to go from there. But I think when you look at the top heavy corners versus the top heavy edge rushers, I think the corners win that battle, and you got to take the one with the more talent, right? And so then after that, Bears, same thing. Then the reason why I chose Fuaga at 10 for the Jets instead of best player available, kind of, was mainly because Fuaga, he can
Playing.
play, huh?
Okay.
Well,
Okay.
no. I went with need. I went with need, not best player.
Oh, okay. Okay.
No, I'm saying that you taking Cooper
Yeah.
DeJean,
Yeah,
that
I
was
went
best
best
player.
player. Yeah.
I'm just saying that for Fuaga, it's just that it gives you insurance policy for Tyron Smith as well. He could play both tackle spots, or you could slide him into a guard because he has the length and the movement ability to play guard as well. But I just think that for the Jets, I think all Jets fans know this. You cannot rely on a fucking old ass tackle to stay healthy throughout the whole season, right? And Elijah
Mm-hmm.
Vera Tucker, which I think he's a really good tackle, but it's just that he can't stay healthy,
I thought he was a
right?
guard.
They put him at tackle
I
sometimes.
thought they had Becton and blanking on his name. Was it Fant? I'm like blanking on his name. I thought he played guard.
Yeah, they put him at tackle or guard. They switch in between.
Oh, okay. Okay.
So yeah, either two you can switch everywhere. They're in there.
Mm-hmm.
But the other tackle they signed was Morgan Moses. I just
Morgan
think for the
Moses.
future.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I just think for the future. So
Yeah,
yeah,
like I said, like I 100%, if they go, Fuaga, I definitely get it. You know what I mean? Like
yeah,
I just feel like it's just in a situation like that, it's hard to pass up Cooper DeJean right here.
yeah,
Um, but to be honest, and besides Nate Wiggins being, between him and Cooper being my favorite DB prospect, I just think it would be cool pairing two Clemson,
yeah,
corners in Atlanta. I feel like that would be fire. A guy to learn from, right? Very similar prospects coming out, so I feel like that would be very, very interesting to kind of have that tandem on the outside. But very, very similar top 10, right?
yeah,
Very
for
few
sure.
different players. Even when we had different players, they were the same position. So,
Yeah,
um,
pretty much.
mhm.
So yeah, and moving on to like the middle rounds of the draft. We got picks 11 through 15, and looking from here, it's interesting. So for me, I went with JJ McCarthy
Mhm.
to the Vikings. I went Bo Nix to the Broncos. I went Fashanu, the tackle, out of Penn State to the Raiders, and then I went Fatanu, the other tackle slash guard from Washington, to the Saints, and I
Mhm.
went with Brock Bowers to the Colts. And then for you, let's see,
Yeah,
you went.
I had Troy Futanu. I had him going to Vikings. They have a solid old line, but I feel like you could
Mm-hmm,
slot him in at guard.
yeah.
Or, if one of those guys go down, he can go at tackle. Kind of
Mm-hmm.
really aligns with the timeline of a who was their other tackle? He just Darrishaw, Christian Darrishaw,
Dershaw,
along
yeah.
with another pick I have later on in the first round. I feel like now is the time to get younger.
Mm,
And I feel like you got to start in the trenches. And I feel like in a position like this, I don't think that with JJ McCarthy being gone to New York, I just don't feel we're comfortable taking another quarterback um this high here. I feel like
mm,
the guy that the Vikings really want is JJ, and if he isn't
yeah,
here, that with this pick they'll try to take the best player available at the very least,
yeah.
try to fill a need.
Mm,
We had the same thing, Bo Nix or whatever, for the Broncos. By the way, fuck the Broncos. Um, uh, Jerzon Newton. I had him going
Yeah.
to Vegas. I almost said Oakland. Um,
Ooh, that D
I, I
line is.
I just feel like that's the name of the game, right? You got to chase around a Patrick Mahomes twice a year, a Justin Herbert twice a year. I feel like you just build that D line and really try to build that defense to be something, right? I feel like
Mm,
pairing him up with Christian Wilkins and Max Crosby, that's a nasty a 3-man tandem. And if this is where I finally had Rome going. I had him
yeah.
going to the Saints. I feel like this is just a really
Last
good
week,
pick.
same thing. Yeah.
Yeah, last week I feel like this is just a really good landing spot for Rome.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't have to try to be the number one guy. Isn't great QB play, but I feel like this is still an environment where he can blossom, have a solid season. And we finished off with 15 with the exact same player in Brock
Brock.
Bowers. So I
God.
just feel like if I'm a Colts fan, man, I'm jumping for joy. You know what I mean? If
Yes.
I'm Anthony Richardson, man, I'm
Yes.
jumping for joy. Like this is to get him at 15, not have to move, insane value, man, insane
Mm-hmm.
value.
Yeah, you talking about Brock Bowers and a guy that's like arguably a top five, top three player in the draft, talent
Mhm.
wise, right? But yeah, him going to the Colts would almost complete that offense.
Yeah.
Like they needed a tight end, right, or a receiver to go with along with their the trio of receivers they got right now, right? So getting helping Anthony Richardson in any shape, way, or form,
Mhm.
that's gonna do wonders for him for sure. Um, I think for the reason why we went with a QB to the Broncos is mainly because one, they need a QB, and
Yeah.
two, they don't have another pick into the third round, and they
Yeah.
they cannot afford to wait, right? And so
No.
there's that. Let me see. I went with a tackle instead of I went with an offensive tackle instead of a D tackle, mainly because that O line is it's very very suspect. Let's just say that. Um,
Mhm.
like I think that you kind of showed it, especially I understand that they didn't have the best QB play, so they would just stack the box because they knew they were gonna run the ball.
Yeah.
But even when they tried to run the ball, there's no movement at the line in general,
Mhm.
right? And so it's just really very tough. So I think they get a premier tackle that coming before the whole season started in college football, he was regarded as a top five pick,
Mhm.
right? And so him sliding down here is also like a very good pick for them. I mean, you can't really go wrong, honestly.
No.
And so yeah, I mean, let's go at the back end of the middle rounds. Let's see, 16 through 20. I got the Seahawks taking Graham Barton.
Mhm.
I got Jaguars taking Nate Wiggins.
Mhm.
I got the Bengals taking a tackle in Latham. They really really need a tackle. Oh my god. And then unfortunately the Rams get the tackle of the future. Hopefully he'll
Mhm.
be asked, but we'll see about that. No, fuck the Rams. And then
Listen.
and then you got 20. We got Marius Mims, tackle to the Steelers. I think with this, um, I'm just start from the beginnings. The Seahawks, they get a guy in Grant Barton where he plays everywhere on the line. He's
Mhm.
very very good. Like he hustles. He does everything that you want to need a tackle or a guard or even a center to play. Especially when
Mhm.
they got their tackle situation, situated with Abraham Lucas and I'm blanking on the dude's name, but it's
I
the
think
other
it's
tackle.
Charles Cross.
Yeah, Cross. Yeah, the two
Mhm.
tackles they got, and then so you got Graham Barton. He can play either guard or center, but if one of the tackles go down, he can play tackle if needed,
Mhm.
right? So I think it's a perfect utility guy that has the talent there. I think the Jaguars, them getting Eric Armstead on the line. I don't like. I had them originally getting a defensive lineman, but then them
Mhm.
getting Armstead, I don't think they really need a D lineman. And then
Mhm.
you look at the you can go offensive lineman or you can go corner, but when you look at who's there, you got to take Nick Wiggins to pair up
Yeah.
with the other corner that they got. I forgot
Tyson Campbell.
Tyson Cam. I'm blanking on names today,
Mhm.
but
Long
you
day,
know
man.
exactly. And then Bengals, like I said, tackle, Ram D tackle, and then Steelers. I think they get a tackle to pair up
Mhm.
with their other Georgia boy, Broderick Jones,
Mhm.
right? And so it's gonna be interesting with the Steelers. They want to get back into like Steelers football. They want to run
Yeah.
the ball, be physical, right? And so I think getting Mims definitely captures that identity back with the Steelers.
Yeah, man. I mean, again, very, very similar in terms of the way we're thinking.
Yeah.
These players, I mean, these teams will go.
Mm-hmm.
The Seahawks, starting with 16, I had them taking
Edge
Dallas
rusher.
Turner.
Yeah.
A player that, at least in terms of when you really look at the board, has really fell. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At least with my draft, a lot of edge rushers are really falling. But
Mm-hmm.
like you just said, like I feel like it's either the front half of the draft is either going to be very DB heavy or it's going to be D line heavy.
Yes.
And with this, I have they desperately need another guy, really a
Yeah.
lead edge rusher. They've been
Mm-hmm.
really missing that. So getting that to pair up with that, those young DBs is gonna be, really fun to watch. At least, as a Chargers fan. Um, and it's
Mm-hmm.
funny, moving on to the Jaguars pick. It's funny, they're literally swapped. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
they're literally swapped.
Yeah.
What are the chances? That's actually crazy.
Wait.
You said enough about Quinion Mitchell. You know what I mean? That I don't have much left to say, but
Mm-hmm.
the man is a stud. You know what I mean? When you talk about guys that have done the most with the opportunities they've been given to really
Yep.
raise their draft stock, he's the number one guy.
Yes.
Um, right here is where I have Fuaga going. Right,
Mm.
I the Bengals you have to take O-line, like just
Yeah. No
without a doubt.
question.
You don't even double think that. Terry and Arnold. I feel like the Rams they need a corner. Bad. Their DBs have been very suspect these last few years, especially once they got rid of um Jalen Ramsey. So to kind of get that corner of the future on that defense and really try to rebuild that defense post Aaron Donald is going to be paramount. And then
Mm-hmm.
getting Big O, man, staying in PA, right? You know what I mean? Does not have to travel very far. Um, I feel like that would be really in line with what the Steelers are trying to do, what they're trying to build. Like you just said, trying to get bigger, trying to get more physical. Whether the quarterback is Russell Wilson or Justin Fields, the name of the game is keeping them upright, right? So getting another guy on that other bookend of their line is going to be very very important. Um, and it's crazy. My eyes are wandering into these next picks, man, and they're very similar yet again. So
Yeah.
I'll let you take it away.
Yeah. And but no, actually, before we get into these picks, I just realized: did you not draft J.C. Latham in the first round?
I did not. I did not.
Interesting.
I did
Interesting.
not.
Did you think that's a guy's gonna fall, or this is just how it just you kind of accidentally had it happen
No,
like that?
I just feel like these other tackles, at least in my opinion, are just better.
Hmm.
Um, I think Mims. I
Interesting.
think Mims is better. I
I think
think
Guyon's
Barton.
better.
I think Guyton is better. I
Ooh.
think Guyton is better.
Interesting.
I feel like it's gonna be between those two. Of
Hmm.
who's gonna make the first round and who's not. In my opinion. Um, and
Interesting.
I just think there's just a lot of talent in other positions where, I don't think the first round is gonna be as tackle heavy as your mock is.
Hmm.
Where you got
Interesting.
Jordan Morgan going at 31. I just feel like there's gonna be like there's a lot of wide receivers, there's a lot of defensive linemen, there's a lot of DBs.
Hmm.
If I'm not mistaken. So my eyes are just wandering. This is crazy how similar these picks are, bro.
Yeah, and I mean, since you're already talking about, let's get right into it, man. My we're going from 21 to 25.
hmm
Actually, no, 21 to 26. Let's make it even, 5-5. But okay, from 21, you got your Dolphins. I got the Dolphins taking Jackson Powers Johnson, center, from Oregon. The Dolphins, they desperately need to help protect Tua.
Yep.
So it starts with Jackson Powers Johnson, who I think that he's a plug and play type of guy. He's a
hmm
guy that definitely will command that offensive line, and so
Yep.
it's a good pick for them. I got the Eagles. They need a corner, so I
hmm
got them the. Funny enough, they could have took Cooper, but I just think for what Howie Roseman
Oh wait, I
handled.
just realized. Holy shit, Cooper fell.
Yeah, I'll get into that. I'll go into that. And so Terry Honor going to the Eagles, and then he said Cooper. I have Cooper going to the Vikings, right? And then after that, I got Cowboys taking Tyler Guyan, the next best tackle on the board, at least there. And then at the Packers taking Tyler Nubin. They got
Mm-hmm.
Xavier McKinney, so it was like, shoot, why not double up and get form a great safety tandem, man. And so
Mm-hmm.
when you think about Tyler Nubin joining that secondary, it's gonna be a little
Yeah.
scary, right? You
Yep.
got Tyler Nubin, you got Xavier McKinney, like I said, you got Jair Alexander, then Eric
Mm-hmm.
Stokes.
Eric
We'll see if
Stokes.
he like lives up to that potential, right? And so it's gonna be interesting with who that they got. But the reason why I had Cooper falling this much, it's not because I think he's like worse than these guys. Like for me, I think Cooper is the best corner
Mm-hmm.
in the draft, 100%.
Yeah.
Right, but I'm going off based on like what I've heard. That
Uh-huh.
is he a cornerback? Is he a safety? You know, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that when teams starting to like think about those things, they keep a player tends to slide because of that, and it sucks,
Mm-hmm.
right? But I think when you just look at it from a pure film standpoint, he just flashes out more than
All
any
right.
other corner that I've seen.
Yeah,
Right? Like
he's a dog.
yeah, and I think if there's any other circumstance, I think he could be the best. The first, I'm not surprised if he would be the first corner drafted. I wouldn't be
Mm-hmm.
surprised,
Mm-hmm.
right? But the game's a game, and I got him going to the Vikings. Maybe it's like a little bias here and there, about certain picks that I made with the Raiders and the Eagles, but it's all good.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think Cooper going to the Vikings is perfect, just because you got a guy, and Harrison Smith if he wants to transition to safety, right? You got Harrison Smith being the perfect mentor
Yep.
at that, right? But then he's coming to the defense with Brian
Secondary with two
Flores.
white DBs, man. I mean, breaking boundaries, man. You know what I mean?
And it's funny because Brian Flores is on the coaching staff, and with the whole lawsuit he went through. But
Trying
no,
to beat
that's
the
great.
allegations. It's cool.
But yeah, man. But yeah, that's pretty much what I got here. Then obviously Tyler we both got. But any
Mm-hmm.
thoughts?
Nah, man. I mean, switching over to my draft, we got the same player 21, same
Mm,
position, same college 22. Just
yeah.
decided to go with Kool-Aid. I feel like Arnold is going to be gone by the time the Eagles are picking. And
Mm,
then circle back to the Vikings. I feel like this is the strike zone for Michael Penix
yeah.
Jr. I feel like
Okay.
this is the highest he goes.
Mm,
And that's not an indication of his talent, because in my opinion, he's probably the fourth most talented quarterback in this draft. You
yeah.
could argue he's top three, right? But
Mm,
I feel like with his injury concerns, him being a little
injuries. Yeah.
older, that he'll slide a little bit. And I feel like this is the highest that he'll go.
Mm,
I don't think he goes any higher than the Vikings with their second pick if they decide to keep these picks. Again, we both are thinking on the same wavelength with the Cowboys. Losing Tyron Smith, you got to get his replacement.
yeah.
Tyler Nubin, Zach same. And then with 26, man, both going edge rusher. I definitely feel like Tampa goes an edge rusher here.
Yes. Yes.
Interesting in your mock, 26 is the highest that an edge rusher goes.
Yeah.
Very interesting.
Yeah. Like,
Um,
go ahead. You was gonna say something, or?
oh, I just feel like with the positional value of edge, I just can't see the first edge going in the mid 20s. That would be crazy, especially because these guys are talented. You know what I mean? They're not
Yes.
they're
Yeah.
not generational guys like what I mean, like that we saw like with a Miles Garrett or a
Mm,
Chase Young. One of those guys. But they're
mm,
very very good. Like day one impact players. So
yeah.
that would be very interesting and definitely would buck a trend that has been going on pretty recently.
Yeah. 100%. And I just think for me, right, that like it's tough, right? Because I think before starting the pod, right? I think when we both made this mock draft, I think, and Kai alluded it to earlier. It's either corners are gonna drop or edge rushers are gonna drop. There's no other
Yep.
way about it. Because I think the one consistent thing is gonna be is receivers tackles, and QBs. I think that's consistent in the first
Yep.
round, right? But it's just a matter of where the corners and edge rushers go. Like for me, I could definitely see the Falcons going edge rusher, right?
Yep.
I guess like I could definitely see Dallas Turner or Jared Verse going as high as 8,
Yep.
right? And so for me, the reason why I just had them dropping at least in this mock, right? And I had a second mock as well, but where I had the edge rushers a little bit higher, just reversed order, right, with the corners and stuff like that. But the reason why I had them dropping just because of like there's just a lot of I don't know, there's just a lot of other talent and like needs that certain what's called
Mm-hmm.
teams to have. And so it's just like pick your poison in a sense. Where it's like at the end of the day, it's the first round pick, and it's like you can't really go wrong. But history has
Yeah.
shown you can go wrong,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
And
You
so
absolutely can go wrong.
right,
Taking Quentin Johnson or something. I don't know.
we'll see about that. But no, yeah. I mean, I think the name of the game is that you either go with talent or need, or
Mm-hmm.
best player available or need, right? And so it just depends what each coaching staff philosophy is. But with that said, let's wrap this this end of the first round mock.
Yeah, man.
Starting off with the Bills. I mean, the Bills, the Cardinals,
Yep.
right? And the
Yeah.
Cardinals,
Mm-hmm.
you got them taking a tackle. I got to take him in an edge rusher. Jared Verse, I mean, the value is right there, and I think that they need another edge rusher because
Yeah.
we got teams like the Rams, the Niners, and Seahawks. You got to be able to like generate some type of pressure to like
Mm-hmm.
make the quarterback get off his spot, right? And so after that, you got the Bills here. The Bills, I got them taking a receiver, Brian Thomas. I think Brian Thomas, if he falls to the Bills in their laps,
Perfect fit.
it's a perfect fit,
Perfect
man.
fit.
He can either take the top off a defense or he
Mm-hmm.
can do all the little things in between the middle. Right? It's
Mm-hmm.
perfect for Josh Allen. And don't forget, he's a big
Perfect fit.
target. He's a big
Yes.
target, man. And
Yes.
so people sleep on that. He's a big target and he runs like what 4.3, I
Yeah.
believe.
4-3. Yep.
And so it's just insane with the lead he's had this year, along with the neighbors, right? And
Mm-hmm.
so after that you got the Lions. Lions, you can always take a corner, but I
He
think that
could.
if you have Latu here, you cannot pass up on the fact
Mm-mm.
that you can get another premier edge rusher
Mm-hmm.
opposite of Hutchinson. Because we
Yes.
already know what Hutchinson can do on his own, but if you get another edge rusher on the opposite of him,
Mm-hmm. And
they can go
listen, what
they
what
can go
is the
places.
what is the easiest way to cover up a bad secondary? A really good D line, right?
Yep.
So
Mm-hmm.
listen, like you just said, like pairing those two guys together, they could definitely be a young tandem that could wreak havoc very early.
Mm-hmm. And so now moving on to like the last three picks, right? It's basically at that point you could argue best player available,
Yeah.
right? And so you got the Ravens, and I'm looking at side by side here. There's a lot of similar picks, but you
Mm-hmm.
got the Ravens getting AD Mitchell, like I said, it's similar to Brian Thomas. You got the blend of speed and size,
Yes.
right? I think with the Ravens, they finally get a receiver that's not a short target, right? And actually a
Yes.
big target that actually can run routes,
Uh-huh.
can do all the other extra stuff, right? Because we've seen when they drafted Bateman, it hasn't really worked out, right?
Nah.
And then them getting OBJ, we all know that didn't work out, right?
No.
But fortunately for them, they got Zay last year. That it worked
Yes.
out, right? But
Very good
I
pick.
just don't think he's the X receiver. Is he? I
Mm-mm.
think he's always going to be the guy in the slot,
Mm-mm.
right? And so you guys see somebody on the outside, a big target for Lamar, and so yeah, there's that. And then the last two picks, I got the Niners. For me, I already said either a tackle or best player available,
Uh-huh.
right? And in this case, I got Jordan Morgan. I think Jordan Morgan, in my opinion, is better than a Tyler Guyan. I think he's
Okay.
better than a few tackles here. I just think that he's going to fall because, you know, um, I think just simply because size, a little bit of size,
Yeah.
right? Where he has, I guess, like shorter arms, I guess, but he has long
Mm-hmm.
enough arms to get the job done, especially in this offense, right? We talked about Latu being a great edge rusher, right? But you turn on the tape when Arizona played against UCLA. He held his own really, very well against Latu,
Okay.
right? And so just stuff like that he shows flashes of being a great tackle for us, where
Mm-hmm.
where he can play on the he usually plays on the left, but he could we could put him on the right for right now, and then eventually move on to the left. right? So that's a cool thing. And then lastly, the Chiefs. The Chiefs are a little bit tough one for me. I know they lost a corner, which
Yeah,
I ultimately drafted them a corner, but you know, I think that they could also go with another edge rusher, right?
I
In
was
which
also thinking that.
and
Yes.
the guy I think I don't know if you think about the same guy, but I was thinking about maybe pork chop, pork chop.
Bro, I swear to God, yo, it was between him and TJ Tampa, bro. I
Yeah,
I did not know who to take. I did not know who to take.
yeah,
I was like, you know what? I feel like with them losing Snead,
yeah.
you can get an edge rusher later on in the draft. Hopefully, um, the guy that they drafted last year that he can develop a little bit,
Mhm.
along with who the fuck?
Karlaftis.
Yeah, it was along with Karloftis, I believe 2 years ago. So
Mhm.
you invested your last two first round picks in edge rushers.
Yep.
Hopefully those guys can really start to step up or whatever. But right now, I just feel like filling the need in corner is going to be imperative. I mean, you got
Yes. Yes.
um. You got
McDuffie.
McDuffie, a very good young, obviously all pro guy.
Mhm.
Um, Keenan Allen's son, but that's fine. You getting him a guy on the other side that can contribute in with Snead being traded.
Mhm.
But man, like this entire draft, dog, like
Yeah, similar
very very
picks.
similar. You know what I mean? We got
Mhm.
some that are completely different. But one thing I do want to say, the biggest discrepancy is where Barton is. I have him going
Ooh.
31. You have him going 16. I feel like that's the biggest gap of
Okay.
any of these players in this first round. So, very very interested to see where he lands. Right?
Yeah, I think for Barton, right? I think coming to the draft, I think he's definitely where you have him, like late first, early second type of guy. But I think over the past few weeks, he's getting a little bit more buzz, and I'm looking into Barton and how he plays and stuff like that. I think for him to have a talent of how he is, the motor that he has, out on every down, either he's putting somebody on the ground or he's on the ground because he put somebody on the ground. You just turn on the blue. It's all good.
They won't notice.
Yeah. So, but yeah, no, yeah. It's I think that him having the talent that he has, and then also being able to play everywhere on the line, I think that's very, very key, right? Because sometimes you have teams where they have established guys in certain positions, right? Where okay, it's like cool. I could put a guy here at guard or center for right now, but in certain situations, I could move him out like a tackle if one of our guys get hurt, right? So I think he's the ultimate Swiss Army knife on steroids, pretty
Yeah.
much, right? And so I have him go a little bit higher just because, like, for the Seahawks, like I said, Seahawks, I think they could definitely go edge rusher for sure, 100%, right? But I just think that they already have the two tackles situated, right? If they can get another guy on the inside, that would just do well better for them, especially in a division with the Niners defense, the Rams up and coming defense, right? And then the Cardinals, whatever they do, right? All that said and done, the Seahawks ain't still gonna do shit. They're still gonna be bottom feeders, for right now at least. They can kick rocks and picking the top end of the first round again. It's all good. It's all good. It's all good, man.
But yeah, man, dog. Yeah, I mean, this has been our second, installment of Mock Draft Monday. Like I said at the top of the video, a little bit of a different format, but I feel like
Mm-hmm.
it's just as fun. You know what I mean? We
Yeah.
love talking the draft. We love talking prospects. So,
Mm-hmm.
right, we're curious. Who had the better draft, right? Who do
Yeah.
you think had
Let
the
us know,
draft that's going
man.
to be, more accurate, right? Make sure you drop that down in the comments.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, man, with that being said, it's been a no bullshit podcast. We appreciate all the love and support you guys been dropping in the
Yes,
videos.
man.
Make sure you guys,